And TRT World's senior business producer, Mobin Nasir, joins me now in the studio for more on this. Mobin, there has been so much hype about this IPO, but
We've
now
been covering it for 3 years.
Right, exactly. But now that it's finally here, there seems to be very little international interest. Why is that?
I think the key word here is risk. So there's, of course, the market risk that just about every other company in this situation would face. Is oil really the future? How much longer is it going to last? Will we be moving to other types of fuels? But then besides that, you have political risk, think the Khashoggi merger. You also have security risk. Very recently, just a few weeks back, we had attacks on Saudi oil facilities. And then given within all of this framework, also the fact that this listing is taking place on a very small stock exchange. The Tadawul is not known to be a very open market or a very liquid market. There are only about 1,500 international investors who are allowed to invest in that market. And so really getting the money in and out of that market is not something that investors are very convinced about. And then you have the valuation of this company. Now, if we just go by the numbers that were put out in their own prospectus, expecting oil prices to be about $60 to $65 per barrel, at that rate, it would take any investor about 20 years to make back the money that they invest in this company. Now, again, that's much higher than other peers in well-established advanced markets where liquidity is not half as much of a problem as it is here. So it seems that if the plan behind the IPO was to open up the economy, that really didn't seem like is what took priority here. What took priority here is trying to make this asset appear as valuable as possible, but the downside, of course, being that it's made it very expensive for most investors.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems that the IPO is going to rely now mostly on domestic investors. As long as they get the money, does it really matter where it comes from, international or domestic?
Well, I think we need to step back and look at why this is happening in the first place, right? This whole Vision 2030, the idea of diversifying the economy, but not just diversifying it, but also opening it up for the global investors to get the world, the private sector of the world, to start putting money into Saudi Arabia, right? And to that extent, it's a bit of a failure, isn't it? Because if the crown jewel of the kingdom is not able to attract investors, then what will? We already have a couple of other projects like Riyadh Financial District. You've seen most of the foreign banks that invested their money there actually completed their projects much before the government was able to complete its end of the deal. And so now you have something resembling a ghost town just sitting there waiting for the government to come through on its commitment. So I think international investors not being a big part of this is definitely a loss for the kingdom.
Nevertheless, I'm sure we're going to keep talking about it coming up. Mobin Nasir, thank you very much.